Fantasy baseball, baseball, baseball. Let's talk about some of the baseball part of that. And we're going to go through Major League Baseball, the league leaders. And we'll start in the American League with Boston in the AL East at 6-4, tied with the Yankees at 6-4, Toronto Blue Jays at 5-5, Tampa Bay at 4-5, and Baltimore at 4-6. This is going to be a competitive division.
I think it's got a chance to be one of the better divisions for sure. I mean, it usually is. It took a dip recently, at least from a Red Sox perspective. But um, I mean, all those teams, fuck, there's a chance all of them are going to win 80 plus games, right? All five of them.
Absolutely. Tampa Bay's that one team, when you look at on paper, but they do it every year. And Baltimore and New York and Boston are expected to win, and Toronto also. So, yeah, I agree with you. Maybe one of the harder divisions in baseball. All off to decent starts, nothing horrible, anyways. 6-4 Detroit in the Central with Kansas City behind them at 4-5. Then the Cleveland at 3-6, Minnesota at 3-6, and the White Sox at 2-7. So the White Sox pretty much season's over already.
The White Sox are a bad team. It's like a 4A team, really. All you can hope is that the young kids that matter show growth and enjoy the playing time while they lose a fucking ton of games. You hope
Yeah.
it doesn't destroy their psyche.
Well, that it's hard to start 2-7. It's too bad they can't be 3-6, 4-5. But it is a tough start. Like already the season's over. And Robert, are they going to trade Robert? Are they going to like how long are they going to hold on to Luis?
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, I think they would root for him to get off to a great start so that they could maximize his value, and then they would trade him at the deadline.
Right, right. I think I agree. That's what they like to do, and he's at least embracing in the AL West. We got Texas off to a great start at 8-2. The Angels playing well at 6-3. Houston 4-5. The A's 4-6 in their band park, and Seattle off to a horrible start, 3-7. Wah, wah, wah.
Terrible,
Terrible.
terrible run scored. I mean, not to start at the bottom, but since I'm living in Seattle and I do love the Seattle Mariners, you know, they've got 32 runs
Yeah,
in
but
10 games.
I agree with you. But just looking at Houston has only 27 runs, but they've only given up 36 runs compared to
Hmm,
48 for Seattle.
that's true.
So,
48 runs. I mean, 4.8 runs a game. That's
oh,
that's not what you're expecting from that Mariners rotation.
man, that's not it's not what you're expecting. Exactly right. That is not good at all. So that's obviously what's going on in Seattle. I don't think they're
But
hitting that great
but
either.
as a yeah, no, obviously, and they've had slow starts recently. I mean, it sucks to say it, but it's not, it's kind of expected. But as a SoCal guy, tell me what's going on with the Angels, because I don't think anything of the Angels ever, and they're 6-3. What's going on there?
Well, I like their manager, Washington. They did get rid of the cell phones in the clubhouse, from my understanding. Um, they got a good mix of young players and some veterans coming back from injuries, and their catcher's playing really well after a good season last year. I don't know if and a lot of good young pitching out of the bullpen and some good starters they've been cultivating for the last couple of years. 6-3 start, obviously. We'll see what happens when the season progresses, but it's a great start. And it's tough to listen. Seattle's going to get out of the 3-7 hole, but it's hard when you're 3-7. You've already built a little hole. So even if you go, six and
Yeah,
three, you're still 9-10. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
so. Absolutely, those early season holes can be devastating. So we'll go to the National League. The Phillies at 7-2. My team, I'm liking how they're playing. I'm liking their pitching. I got some big investments in them in fantasy. Um, I'm stoked about the way they're playing. This is how they should be playing. This is what they're supposed to do.
yeah. I mean, they've been one of they've been like a top five team, legitimate contender for several years now. It's nice to get out of the gate strong when you're considered one of those teams.
Absolutely. And listen, the window on these guys is only 2 to 3 more years. You know what I mean? This bunch that has played well, as you just said. So we really got to put it all together. They've been a playoff team, but they haven't won any championships. New York Mets at 6-3. Obviously, so they're not playing well, but the Mets are. Miami at 5-4. Washington at 3-6, and Atlanta at 1-8.
I got to admit, I haven't deep dived into what's going on there, but nobody saw that coming. I mean, they've only scored 24 runs in 9 games. That's fucking
Yes,
horrible.
that is awful. That is awful. Not even three a
That's just gonna
game.
make me get, yeah, I'm getting my calculator out for that. I'm like, well, I'm gonna, 24 divided by
Yeah,
9. What is that?
absolutely.
Two, 2.67.
So yeah, I mean, their pitching has been okay. 36 runs allowed.
Yeah, you
They're
can live with
decent,
that.
absolutely. So they're definitely not scoring runs. We go to the Central, the Cubbies and Tucker having a great start in his new city at 7-5, Milwaukee 5-5, St. Louis 4-5, Cincinnati 3-7, and Pittsburgh 3-7. I kind of feel that this division is it could be anyone any of these teams could do well in this division. I guess Chicago and Milwaukee are more favored.
For sure. And just I like that division. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm an American League East guy growing up in Boston as a Red Sox guy, and then whatever, coming here, Seattle, still American League, but there is something about all those teams in the NL Central that I just kind of like those teams. It seems very baseball-y to me.
They're very big baseball towns, absolutely. I mean, Milwaukee goes back to, having the Braves a long time ago. I mean, that city is
Yeah.
deep into baseball, deep down. And yeah, it is a great division with the Cubbies and the Brewers and the Cardinals and the Reds and the Pirates, some classic baseball teams have been around for a long time. And right now, Chicago is the best at 7-5, but they're all in it 3-7. Never a good start for Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Runs scored, by the way, 62 by St. Louis. Whew, that's pretty good, but runs allowed 60.
77.
Yeah,
77 runs scored by the fucking Cubs.
that's why they're 7-5. But 56 runs allowed is a lot, as is Milwaukee's 64 runs allowed, and St. Louis's 61 runs allowed. This division is giving some stats. I'm telling you, they're
Yeah,
really
the
wow.
crazy thing there is the team with the lowest runs allowed is the fucking Cincinnati Reds at
Right, tied at the
38,
bottom
which is
with
significantly lower, right?
yeah, 3-7. They've only scored 39 runs, and that's why they're not hitting. But that is an interesting observation. And then the NL West, we got the San Francisco just off to a great. The Giants 8-1, playing really well. I mean, I'd like to say playing above their heads, but who knows? You never know when you get these rosters together. The Dodgers at 9-2, right behind them. San Diego at 8-2. So the three powerhouses playing really well. Arizona, who made it as a wild card last year, didn't they? At 5-5, and then the Rockies, sadly, kind of like I feel like the White Sox, already out of it at 2-7.
I don't know. Rockies, yeah. I mean, right, they've been bad for so long, and
Yeah, they've
it's
scored.
sad too. They got that
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful ballpark.
yeah,
Just seems like a great place to go watch baseball,
it really
especially if you
does.
could put together a great hitting team.
Well,
But
I guess they're kind of
they
in a
didn't,
rebuild. Hopefully, they do have some good young players. They've only scored 30 runs this year, but only given up 42, which is actually pretty good, to be honest with you. Um, So yeah, it is sad about Colorado. But just to let you know, Atlanta at 1-8, I did not take them out of it because they are Atlanta and they do have a good team. But 1-8, that's just crazy for the Braves.
yeah, no, it's a terrible start for sure. I
That
mean,
is,
like you're saying,
yeah. I mean,
like you go 10-5. You're like, hey, we just went 10-5, and then you're still whatever,
el-
2 or 3 games
11
over
and
the 500.
13. You're 11 and 13. Yeah,
Right.
you're like, yeah, we were 1-8. Now we're 11 and 13 after going 10-5. Exactly, man. It's like it is. The holes in the beginning. You think to yourself, listen, from a fantasy standpoint, for sure, you're like, yeah, this guy's going to come out of it. He's going to have 30 homers and about 280 by the end of the year. But from a team perspective, you really can build deep holes in 10 to 15 games that affect your whole season. It's like, yeah, well, we only had 80 wins, but we did start 2-10. It's like, well, that's a bummer, and that kind of affected everything. Real quick, we'll go through. the just the home runs. The average is kind of hard to get into this early, but we got Judge with 6 home runs, Tommy Edman with 5 home runs.
One of
Oh,
those is an outlier.
yeah, we're not going to tell you which one. Ohapi, I believe, is pronounced for the Angels at 5. Great to see Suarez with 5 and Tucker with 5. And a slur of people with favoritism. Flores for the Giants, who's available in our league. Hernandez, Herrera, who just won the IL. Otani, Ramirez, Rooker, Schwarber, Soderstrom. Suzuki, surprising name. He's not a home run hitter. Volpe, round out the 4 homers. A lot of familiar names on that list.
Yep, there is.
Too
Definitely.
Too bad Herrera got hurt though.
Yeah. And I was watching that Red Sox game. Like I said, there's runners on second and third, and it's a pop out, a foul out, and there's 2 outs, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's a foul out. It's in foul territory. There's nothing fair about it at all. And I don't know what he was doing. They never really showed good camera views of what was going on the third baseline. But next thing you know, they cut to him and he's down on his knee, and their 2 guys are helping him limp off the
Uh,
field, and he can't put any pressure on his leg.
did you know
Like, what the hell happened there?
there was an article on MLB about him, like put out the day before about his struggles to become a major leaguer, and I was just like, oh, that's not good timing. Yeah, hard to see. He off to a great start. Real quick RBIs: Judge with 18, Tucker with 15, Teoscar Hernandez with 13, Abreu for the Red Sox with 12, Flores for the Giants with 12, Perdomo with 12, Volpe with 12, Alonso, Herrera, who just got injured, with 11, Alonso with 11, also Mullins with 11, Suzuki for the Cubs with 11, Suarez with 11, and then rounding off the 10 is Bregman, De La Cruz, and Kelly for the Cubs, and Merrill for the Padres, 10 RBIs and above so far, 10 games in.
There's a few names on there that just had like a great game, but overall they haven't been amazing. But at this stage of the season, if you have a 5 RBI game, that's obviously going to boost your way up there.
This next one's going to surprise you. Um, wow. So I want to go to strikeouts real quick. Suzuki for the Cubs leads with 21 strikeouts. I would not have guessed that.
21 strikeouts
Yes, sir.
in like 12 games? Damn.
Um, yeah.
He's got to get that under wraps.
21 strikeouts. But listen to this. Ready? Chisholm,
Yeah.
19 strikeouts.
Wow. All right. Where's Devers? He's got to be up there, right?
Contreras, Devers, Lowe, and Taglia with 17 strikeouts.
Hmm.
Churio,
Wow.
DeJong, Green, Reynolds, and Torkelson, and Wood with 15. And then just real quick, since there's only
Curio with
three of them,
15, huh?
yeah, 15. And then a Rosarina, is it Podges for the Dodgers, and Riley with 14. So those are the people swinging and missing the ball, Steve.
Dang.
Yeah. There's some
That's
players playing well early and some players not.
yeah, for sure. Definitely.
But that's the thing about baseball, and unlike fantasy, like we were saying, some of these teams in these deep holes, only a few of them have some. Like the Braves, they're obviously looking to contend this year. That 1-8 could be hard to overcome, but it's 10 games in. Everything could flip flop, and we're so early in the season. It's a long marathon, like you said. And one thing I like to say is baseball, baseball, baseball.
Baseball, baseball, baseball.
I'm Dan O'Day. That's Steve Romano. Thanks for joining us on Fantasy Baseball Baseball. We'll see you next week. Cheers.